Alright, how's it going everybody? Welcome to another Need for Speed Most Wanted video, and welcome to another ranking video finally. In today's video, I'm going to be testing and ranking every single purchasable car, including the BMW M3, with full upgrades plus Junkman parts and ranking them from worst to best. As I'm sure most of you know already, I'll be using the Little Italy track to test each car, and I'll be using controller with manual transmission. But this time, I'm actually going to be using completely different tuning settings, which you can find in the description below. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the countdown. Starting off with the bottom 5, or what I call the awful tier, we have the Monaro in dead last with a 107.51 lap time. And to be honest, I didn't think this car and the GTO would be much different, but actually they are. This car capitalizes on handling, while the acceleration really isn't that great. And speaking of the GTO, it only placed one spot above the Monaro with a lap time of 1 minute 6 seconds 67 milliseconds, and like I was saying, this car does have better acceleration and speed than the Monaro, but the handling is just not that great as it does tend to slide a lot. At number 31 we have the Audi A4, which did a 106.42, and this car is an absolute freaking nightmare to drive. And this is because, honestly, I think this car has some of the worst handling in the game. It's heavy, understeers like crazy, and the grip is practically non-existent. The acceleration and power can be described as mediocre, but the handling is just absolutely awful. Number 30, we have the CLK 500, which ran a lap of 106.38. And even with such a drastic tune, I was not able to fix the horrible handling of this car. Still, it did slightly improve from its original time of a 107.94, but still, the best advice I can give you with this car is don't bother. And at number 29 we have the Mazda RX-8, and I'll be honest with you guys, I really wanted to like this car, I really did, but it's just all around mediocre. The best thing that can be said about this car is its handling, but with the poor acceleration, it's just not enough to make up for it. Now coming out of the bottom 5 and going into what I call the bad tier, we have the Eclipse. And the Eclipse ran a 105.58, which is an improvement over the 107.50 that it posted on the last ranking video, but it's just still not enough to make it competitive. It still suffers from understeer and a lack of acceleration, still just not a great car altogether. Now this one is probably going to hurt the feelings of some Supra fans, but at number 27 we have the Toyota Supra, which did a 105.53. And as is the case with the RX-8, this car is just all over mediocre. With average at best handling and acceleration and a poor top speed, this car is just not a competitive choice. Number 26 we have the Cadillac CTS, which ran a 105.31. And this is just another heavy, understeering mess of a car that I can only recommend for pursuits. Why the developers chose a base model regular traffic CTS over the CTS-V is still beyond me to this day. Number 25, we have the Mercedes SL500, and the SL500 did a lap in 1 minute 5 seconds 18 milliseconds. And honestly, this car is quite similar to the CLK 500 while also different. So, the key difference is that while the CLK 500 is prone to understeer, this car is prone to a lot of oversteer. But other than that, they're both heavy cars with decent amounts of power, but still just not suitable for tracks with a lot of corners like Little Italy. Number 24, we got a car that actually surprised me a little bit. We got the Aston Martin DB9, which ran a 104.96, which is a considerable improvement over the original 107.01, but I still just can't recommend it in racing. And the reason for that is obviously it's way too heavy in the corners. No matter what setup I tried to put on it, I just couldn't balance this out. Starting the mid tier at number 23, we have the Audi A3, which ran a 104.76, and this car's major flaw is its lack of power. It does have some pretty okay handling, but it's just too slow to really be competitive. Finishing off the Audi cars in number 22, we have the TT, which ran a 104.50, and do not let this car's size fool you, it is very heavy through the corners. Still, that doesn't really seem to stop it from being okay at handling, but there's still no reason you should choose this car over any other of the smaller cars, like the Clio or the Elise. At number 21, we got the Lexus IS300, which ran a 103.98, and this is actually kind of a big improvement over its original run of a 106.22. And honestly, the same thing I said last time about this car still applies here. It's not the worst car, it's not the best, it's just decent. It's got decent handling, but the only thing that seems to hold it back is a lack of power. At number 20, we have the Dodge Viper, which I was actually pretty surprised to see somewhat low on this list. The Viper is actually pretty pleasant to drive with a really strong cornering ability, but the problem is it seems that the acceleration is somewhat lacking in my opinion due to the tall gear ratios. At number 19, we have the 996 Turbo S, which ran a 103.89. And this car just feels heavy and if not tuned correctly, can understeer pretty bad. But even with the proper tuning, it seems that the handling is just okay, but is somewhat made up for with its power and acceleration. Number 18, we have the Renault Clio, which did a 103.85. And in my opinion, this is just a better version of the Audi TT. Small, nimble, and relatively quick through the corners, it's just a decent car altogether. At number 17, we have the Ford Mustang, which ran a 103.74. And again, this car does struggle a little bit with its top speed, but it does seem to make up for it with acceleration, and surprisingly, for an American muscle car, its handling. It actually has a pretty solid cornering ability. Starting at number 16 with what I believe to be the good tier, we have the Evo, which did a 1 minute 3 seconds 58 milliseconds. And I know I said last time that this car struggles a little bit with understeer, especially in the lower speed corners, but that is because +5 steering and aero is just not the way to go when tuning your cars. Once I found a proper setup based on my experience, I was able to make the understeer a lot less noticeable, making this car a great all-arounder in terms of straightaways, medium speed corners, and now even the low speed corners. And at number 15, we have the Evo's arch rival, the STI, which ran 0.13 seconds faster than its major competitor. And while it doesn't seem to have the acceleration or the power that the Evo has, the handling is much better. At number 14, we have the Porsche Cayman, and again, I just can't complain about this car. It is very well rounded, it's got good grip, good cornering ability, solid power, just a great car. At number 13, we have the Mazda RX-7, which runs rings around its younger brother with a time of 1 minute 2 seconds and 84 milliseconds. It's got great handling, it's quick. Now the only thing I will say is that you will have to wait until you unlock the final transmission upgrade before you can unlock the true potential of this car, but once you've done that, this car is absolutely solid. At number 12, we have the Murcielago, which did a lap of 1 minute 2 seconds 79 milliseconds. And this car's biggest weakness is its weight. It makes it an absolute pain in the butt to drive if you don't use the proper tuning. And trust me when I say it took me forever to find a setup that works for me. But still, if you can look past that, this car has some pretty good acceleration and a decent top speed as well. Number 11, we have the Gallardo, which did a lap time of 1 minute 2 seconds 67 milliseconds. And again, this is just another solid, very well-rounded car with great grip, great handling, great acceleration, and a good top speed. Again, just you can't go wrong with choosing the Gallardo. Coming into the great tier, which are the A+ to lower S tier cars, we have the SLR, which ran a 102.63. And like I said in the last video, Junkman parts plus a proper setup give this car some really solid handling, coupled with its already really good acceleration. At number 9, we have the Corvette C6, which ran a 102.38, and the only real problem I seem to have with this car is that sometimes it does understeer just a little bit in the corners. But it does come with a really quick acceleration and good power, so I think that makes up for it just well enough. At number 8, we have the Fiat Punto, which did a lap of 1 minute 2 seconds 29 milliseconds. And being the lightest of the starter cars, in my opinion, it has the best handling out of all of them. but it just doesn't have the acceleration or the power to back it up. At number 7, we have the 911 Carrera S997, which ran a 1 minute 1 second 99 millisecond time. And this car seems to take the great aspects of the previous two Porsches, taking the amazing acceleration from the 996 Turbo and the great handling of the Cayman S, making it an all-around amazing machine. At number 6, we have the Chevy Cobalt, which ran a 10172, and this is a great option if you don't want the Golf. It's got better handling than the IS300 and more power than the Punto. Coming into the top 5 now, we got the Ford GT, which ran a time of 101.71. And this car is just a straight up beast with monstrous acceleration and a great top speed. And with the setup in the description, absolutely perfect handling to balance everything out. At number 4, we have every speedrunner's favorite car, which ran a 101.14. And this car just takes the good qualities of the Punto and the Cobalt and combines them into one car and turns it up to 11. Now, I've heard some people say that the stock turbo is actually better, but I wasn't able to confirm this as I actually ran a slower time with the stock turbo, running about a 101.34 as opposed to this 101.14. Coming into the top 3, and these are the S plus tier cars. These are the cars that are in a league of their own. Starting with the Lotus Elise, which ran a 1 minute 58 milliseconds. And this car's biggest advantage and somewhat disadvantage can be its handling. This car, especially with this setup, can take corners like an absolute champ, but it can also tend to be a little bit snappy in the corners, so it's going to take some getting used to master this car. But once you've done that, I believe it becomes probably the best handling car in this game. Now, it does have a little bit of a lack of power, but when you can corner like this, you don't even need it. Number 2, you may or may not be surprised to see this car dethroned, but there is a car better than the M3 GTR. But let's talk about the M3. So, the more I've tested this car, the more I've seemed to realize that while this car does have great power, great downforce, great grip through the corners, it can tend to be a little heavy with the steering. It almost feels like a car that has fully ultimate tires, but only a level 1 suspension. Still, the pros seem to outweigh the cons in my opinion, making this the second best car in the game. And coming in at number 1, we have a car that is super special to me because this car finally allowed me to complete Little Italy in under a minute without the use of Speedbreaker or nitrous. Of course, I'm talking about the Porsche Carrera GT, which ran a 59.90. And what can I say about this car other than it is just insane? It takes all the good attributes from pretty much every other top 5 car, where it takes the power and the acceleration from the M3, the handling from the Lotus Elise, and the overall balance from the Golf, making it, without a shadow of a doubt, the best car in this game, hands down. So I guess that's going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed or found this video helpful, feel free to like and comment. Also, if you want to see a video ranking the special cars such as the playable cop cars and traffic cars, let me know in the comments below. And if you want to keep up with future videos, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. Speaking of which, I wanted to go ahead and take this time to thank everybody for 5,000 subs. I'm still at a loss of words, I can't believe it. But anyways, that's going to be it for me today. See ya.